I see you've returned to my domain. Welcome back. And just in time, too. I could already tell y'all were just starving for content. Or not. Who knows, there's plenty of people out there. Thankfully, though, I am here nonetheless. Modern gaming has become a cesspool as of late, especially with modern AAA releases that come out. I say this because I seem to enjoy indie or AA releases recently, and I wish to bring more and more of them to light for my audience. And after the biggest disaster of the year, that is RedFall, I feel more obligated to give you a way better alternative that is worth the time and attention, along with being able to wash the bad taste in our mouths harder than Listerine. Because, trust me when I say, I definitely needed it. Enter Evil West. Evil West was a game that I had always been keeping an eye on ever since it was announced. So when it was officially released, I decided to do something I normally don't do nowadays. Actually paid for a full price game when it came out, not knowing whether or not I was going to get an unfinished mess. I can confidently say, that's not what happened. Evil West is a fantastic action game with plenty of charm and combines close quarters brawling action with some good old fashioned rootin' tootin' cowboy shooting. This game is a perfect example of what modern gaming needs to take lessons from again. Making a game that is meant to be a video game. And I'm here to explain exactly why. So get your boots on and let's take a journey to the Wild West. Join me as this is my love letter to Evil West. To give an idea on the combat of Evil West, allow me to paint a picture for you all. Imagine if you took the western atmosphere of Red Dead Redemption, the blood-pumping action of God of War, and the gameplay loops similar to Devil May Cry, and you've got the gameplay of Evil West. And it all manages to mesh together in the best way possible, taking the best parts of each of those games and putting them into one homogeneous thing. Gameplay consists of your standard melee combos with your powerful gauntlet, rising uppercuts which can launch certain enemies into the air where you can juggle some more, as well as your guns that you collect along your journey. And trust me, this cowboy is packin'. I cannot put into words how truly satisfying the gameplay feels. The combos have weight and they register really well. The gauntlet itself has a lot of power built into each of the swings, and the guns just feel great. These consist of your trusty revolver, the sexy lever action rifle, which keeps long range enemies in check, a crossbow, a flamethrower, dynamite, and lastly,
this is my boomstick!
Each of these weapons have their own uses and power that feels just oh so satisfying to use each and every time. I can't even count the amount of times that I've been able to fully utilize my weapon arsenal when necessary. No weapon goes unused, and it's honestly pretty great. Also, I saved this for last in terms of the guns, but I had to cross my legs in the middle of recording this part because there's another gun that you get, and yeah, just watch it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, it still gives me just wonderful feelings inside. And to add on to this, we have the charges and power system. Your gauntlet consists of electrical power that is shown through charges that can be built over the course of each enemy encounter, as well as gain charges around the level. This also is piled on by this beautiful parry system, where you can parry enemy attacks and stun them momentarily, or build up a stun meter if there's bigger enemies involved. You also can use electricity to pull enemy towards you, or dash towards an enemy of your choice for a deadly melee combo. If you build your charges up to the maximum, you can unleash a powerful ultimate lightning frenzy that has me on my knees. It's like this game was made specifically for me. But with all this put together, there's no satisfying gameplay without its variety of enemies to shake it up. Which is why I'm pleasantly surprised by the amount of enemies that you fight, and how much variety each of them have. They have their own sense of genuine threat and ways of keeping you constantly moving. We've got your standard cowboys, brutes, eldritch monsters, bugs, vampires, werewolves, flying monsters that will shield other enemies, juggernauts with shields, giant bats, tyrannids, and tons of other shit that will come to murder you. And when I say constantly moving, I mean it, as on higher difficulty levels, you will die. A lot. I'll be honest, I was surprised by the amount of times I got my ass destroyed. I played on hard difficulty, and yet it still felt like got Ultra Nightmare difficulty from Doom Eternal. Which gladly is why Evil West has a progression system based on the amount of gold you find in each level, and skill points you get as you level up. It's a simple but effective progression system that boosts up your weapons and power. The final upgrades on your guns give you a bit of a, yes, you can see this joke coming from a mile away, shocking touch, giving extra boosts to damage. All this comes together as a complete package that delivers the right amount of action in spectacular fashion. All of this would be enough, but we need to talk about level and sound design, as it just adds so much more to the original package. So I had to make this its own segment, as I need to talk about how much I love the level design of Evil West. The way Flying Wild Hog designed levels is nothing short of incredible, as it has such a huge sense of scope and variety that I didn't expect. Its diesel punk horror vibe it gives off is on full display here. For example, you go into this old western town where you fight cowboys and snipers, but then in that exact same level, you then discover a huge vampire temple deep into the mines where you fight monsters deep underground. Another is where you go into this forest where you traverse around a river, and then the next thing you know, you find this cotton field where the lighting darkens into an ominous red and you fight werewolves. The levels and different locales you come across were way beyond the scope I was expecting. This also is coupled with by these beautiful vistas and backgrounds. The visuals should be praised from a studio this small. This game looks more next-gen than most next-gen games as of late. The ways of traversal are actually really fun too, and will even incorporate parts of your arsenal. The flamethrower can burn away spiderwebs that block you from your objective. The crossbow can create zip lines that help you traverse the level. You can even use the rifle to break boxes and drop chains down that you can climb up. And even the gauntlet can be used to break doors, debris, or overcharge power stations to progress. There's even some puzzles that admittedly are very simple and straightforward, like moving train tracks and so on. This also is coupled with enemy encounters as well. There's environmental hazards that are scattered around that can be used to obliterate hordes of enemies at a rapid pace. And then we get to the surprisingly great addition to this game, the sound design. You're going to need to make use of the sounds of this game, as it will help you over the course of each level. Some sound cues are very distinct and are not difficult to miss, which I really love. Like how werewolves howling can overlap other enemies, so you know to stop them before they momentarily buff themselves. Some bosses will deafen the sound to keep you guessing, and even after an enemy encounter, it ends with a metal clip drop that indicates that the fight is over. This approach to sound design and level design further enhances the gameplay experience and overall quality. Now with all this being said, it's time to talk about what the overarching story of Evil West is about. So before we talk about the plot, I have two things to point out. First of all, how much did Flying Wild Hog pay to have these cutscenes made? Like, I mean, come on. Look at this. Look at all that detail, and is that Peach Fuzz? Is that Peach Fuzz?
Fucking Peach Fuzz!
Anyway, the second thing is, I will be spoiling the story. So, if you are still playing the game and don't want it ruined for you,
Leave! Just leave. Right the hell now.
just kidding. Just go to this timestamp so that you can get my full thoughts on it. Alright, with that said, let's get to business. The story has quite an interesting setup. The year is 1895. You are Jesse Rentier of the Rentier Institute, a secret organization funded by the US government where their sole goal is hunting and killing vampires and other supernatural monstrosities to protect the people. Your father believes that there is a place for you outside of monster hunting, but Jesse doesn't want to be a pencil pusher for the rest of his life. All while this is going on, simultaneously, a vampire cult by the name of the I'll just call them the Sanguines, is secretly in hiding where they reject a high-ranking vampire, Peter DeBono's, plan and sentence him and his line to death. After you kill him and take his head, his daughter Felicity then takes the assault on your headquarters, in which she enacts her grand plans to build an army of Foulbloods to dominate the world. All while your father is wounded and possibly infected with vampirism. So it's up to you and your crew to put a stop to Felicity and stop the vampire invasion. One thing I point out in the story is how character driven it is. The characters are all really fun and the driving force of this plot. Jesse and Chester Morgan are a huge standout for me. Their witty banter between each other does a great job conveying their friendship and their ways to look out for each other.
What a waste of perfectly good explosives.
Next time you go and die like that, you better stay dead.
Noted.
Amelia Blackwell is also a fun character, as it's nice to see a badass female character that takes no shit from assholes like James Harrow, who is a constant thorn in the character's sides, by the way. William Rentier, Jesse's father, is actually really good as well, as he unfortunately reaches his demise and becomes a vampire, which results in you having to put him out of his misery. As the plot progresses, you learn that Felicity is planning to attack Washington, D.C. and to attack the president so that she can turn him. In a fantastic final showdown where you finally manage to catch and kill Felicity in a fantastic final boss fight, I might add. With the enemy finally squashed, Harrow is exposed as a fraud. The president promises to reinstate the Rentier Institute as the looming threat of the Sanguines is still looming and they are far from done. All in all, I really liked this story. I liked the characters, I really loved the writing, and the overall sense of scale and stakes. It's not new, it's not breaking any new grounds, but it's told really well and gets me excited for the future should they do more. All while the villain is somewhat lacking, Felicity is really fun, Jesse is a great main character, and I am more and more excited for the future of Evil West as I hope they continue this. It's not often nowadays where someone tells a story not because it is to tell a deep and impactful narrative, but because it was cool. And this was really cool. So that is Evil West, and it was a ride from start to finish. It's one of the few times where I truly felt like I got my money's worth out of paying full price for a game. From the stellar gameplay, to the incredible level and sound design accompanying it, to its pretty fun story with great characters, the quality of this game is way beyond my expectations. In an industry where AAA gaming continues to slowly degrade, games like Evil West show that indie developers and AA gaming carries this industry hard, and they give me a glimmer of hope for this industry as a whole. I'll definitely be watching Flying Wild Hog with great interest after this one. They're definitely catching my eye, and I hope to see more of what they can do.
Oh, hell yeah.
At the end of the day, however, just remember that in a world of RedFalls, there's always an Evil West scattered around, waiting, and I strongly recommend it. To be honest, anything's better than RedFall at this rate. Anybody who greenlit that shit should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
Know your fucking place, trash.
And that is my love letter to Evil West.